Hi there, I'm Jen Isherwood from the Edinburgh Academy, and this workshop is all about resilience and mindsets. It is on the back of the webinar done by Emma Bell on Thrive and should work well with her information and her module that you have already heard. If you haven't already done so, you can listen again to that, or as a standalone workshop, this will make sense. We've created a few resources to go with this course, so if you drop me an email, I can send them over to you. Building curiosity around a subject means that you will go down your own path with it and find your own meaning. This is really a way of opening that door for you, providing a model and a structure which makes sense to me. Bear in mind that there are lots of other models and structures out there. So let's unpack this subject of resilience a wee bit more. We're all born with resilience and it's part of our brain chemistry. But it can be built and shaped through our experiences in life. This is done by the neural pathways becoming clearer and stronger and more obvious. I like to think of the neural pathways like little tracks in a forest. The more they're used, the more obvious they become, and the easier they are to find. Have a look at these little pictures and hopefully that will start to make sense. So how do we build resilience? Well, it's all about training. Training is a useful model for us to use because we're all pretty familiar with that. If we've done any sport or music, we'll know that before an event we have to put in some training, and that we have a coach who helps us through that. Eventually, once we're on the field of play, we have to make decisions for ourselves, and resilience is pretty much the same. Now, in Emma's workshop, she discusses the concept of thrive and what people who seem to thrive have in common. She's done a huge amount of work and research on this, and it's definitely worth following up some of her work through reading her material, going online and listening to her. The attributes of people who thrive, who are resilient, are ones which we can mirror in our own lives. My motivation comes from somebody called Viktor Frankl. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he talks about his life in a concentration camp. After his experiences in the concentration camp, he becomes a very well-known psychiatrist, and he talks about the search for meaning that man has within his own life and gives us some scaffolding for that. This is what he says about mindsets. And he's talking about having been in the concentration camp. So that's the context of this. The last of human freedom. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. To choose one's own way. Viktor Frankl explores mindsets and attitudes extensively in his book, and it's definitely worth a read. Mindsets and attitudes affect all of our lives. They affect our resilience and our ability to thrive. Imagine that you are going on a journey on a yacht. It would be pretty naive to assume that the weather's always going to be beautiful and warm and nice gentle breezes. It'd be sensible to assume that at some point the weather might change and that you're going to have some skills to deal with that. Extra provisions, certainly more clothing. To do some training to prepare for those difficult times on your boat. Well, life's the same, and there are some common themes that we can train for. There are things that we can anticipate are going to come along. It'd be lovely if they don't, but we can anticipate them coming along and prepare. And in doing this workshop, you are giving yourself that chance. Now, all of the techniques that I'm going to use are not painful or difficult or uncomfortable, but they are done through your own choice. And I hope that in doing them, it does build curiosity. It may prompt some questions that you need to look for answers to, but it shouldn't cause you concern. We are all on a journey. We can all build more resilience. We can all thrive more. Nobody is a perfect example of this. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Just compare yourself to the person you were yesterday and think, am I making progress? So, moving to the practicalities of this course, I'm going to ask you to take some notes. Just let me reach down for my book. Have some kind of journal that you can write things in. I'm going to be asking you to keep a journal. And if it's a notebook that you enjoy writing in, then all to the better. If it's just a scrap of paper, then you might lose it. So I would like you to have some kind of notebook that you can keep track of things. I also am going to use some rocks to write things down, and I would like you to do the same. Just rocks, nothing fancy. They can be out of the garden rocks, they can be things that you find along your way during your walk during the day, but just maybe 5 or 6 of them. When we meet again, we are going to use these resources, so it will be helpful. If you can't find any rocks, that's fine, though. Just little scraps of paper will be perfect, because I'm going to get you to write things on them and create a shape out of those. So, to summarise, this workshop is about thriving, learning the toolkit of resilience that you have. It's very personal, and it links in with the work that's been done by Emma Bell, which I hope you've seen. The inspiration for this is very much around my belief that if we help young people in school to have a toolkit that equips them for life, then resilience should be a part of that. And understanding your mindset is key to building resilience. Final words to Victor. He's talking about the difficult conditions in Auschwitz. Man has both potentialities, and he's talking about whether people do acts of kindness for each other or acts of cruelty or indifference to each other, both of which he had seen in the concentration camp. Man has both potentialities within himself. Which one he actualises depends on decisions, but not on conditions. He explains that those decisions are based on that person's mindset and their understanding of themselves, their values, their qualities, their experiences in life. I look forward to seeing you in the next clip. Keep well, keep safe, and keep working hard, because I know you all are just now.